you've done quite a bit over the last year. You're the only one touching these hypercars that no one else will go near. You have the Porsche 918 that you just bought with the fire damage.
Yes.
This is like a $2.5 million car that you were able to buy for like $150,000.
Yeah.
You have that. You have the McLaren P1
yes.
that you're still fixing up. You have the $500,000 Aventador.
Yes. Yeah.
In addition to that. What's the fixed up value of your garage?
So I think I just put this into a spreadsheet. So like, let's say retail value of everything, even with like the weird title stuff, it's like around between $4 and $6 million, but most of that is like the P1 and 918. The 918s, like the 918 Spiders have sort of run away a little bit. They used to be between like $1.5 to $2 million, and now they're like a crappy one, not a crappy one, but like one that has some miles, like a driver's car, is probably 2.5, and a really good one is like 3+. So that is like, now this is in a whole new world that I am not like part of at all. So it is pretty crazy. The same thing with the P1. Like before, you can buy a P1. Like some P1s were under $1 million, and now they're like people are asking 2.3, which is nuts. So maybe it's just an inflation thing. I don't know. You guys can tell me about that, but I wish I knew more about the hypercar market. But it just seems like it's just going up and up and up.
Do you have any idea why it's that specific car that's gone up so much? Because I feel like that's outpaced most other hypercars in the market.
So the reason why is because, well, the P1, the 918 Spider, and the LaFerrari were the hypercar holy trinity. They were the first hybrid hypercars made around 2011 to 2013, and they were in competition with one another. And it was really significant. I think they're probably the last like truly significant supercars, at least like in my lifetime. And I think because of that, there's like an aura around them. Now it doesn't really make sense from a market cap standpoint, because the 918, they made 918 of those cars. The P1 is the rarest with 375, and then the LaFerrari, they had 500, well, 499 plus one for the Pope. And then they had some Apertas, which is the convertible one. So realistically, you'd think that the P1 would be, the rarest and most collectible, but it's not. It's actually the cheapest. But it like all those cars are sort of going up. So hopefully in 5-10 years, maybe they'll be, I don't know, $4-5 million cars. The Ferrari, the LaFerrari is already there. It's already a $5 million car. The Apertas are like 7, which is more money than I think anybody should ever spend on an automobile.
How much did you spend on the 918?
About $145,000.
What I thought was hilarious is that you spent $145,000 on that car, but then one singular part that you needed for the car, the most expensive part, how much was that?
So that was, I needed the rear subframe. That's $150,000.
So you spent more on one part for a car than you did on the entire car.
Yes. I mean, and the reason why is because that car is completely made of carbon fiber. It's like the frame, the monocoque chassis, the bodywork, all of that stuff is carbon fiber, and it's only for that car. So Porsche does this thing where they will use parts from other cars, like the rear wheel steering from that car is actually from a 991, like Porsche 911. There's a lot of sensors and switches and stuff like that you can find in other Porsches. And even the key is the exact same key that you get in a Boxster. So they could save a lot of money like that, but then all the engineering, like the hybrid system and the engine and all that stuff, was only specific to that car. So all that stuff, super expensive. I mean, we're talking like if I needed to get a new engine block, it's $250,000. The transmission, which is like it's derivative of the regular dual clutch PDK thing that goes into every other Porsche, but it's not exactly the same. So it's like another $160,000. So if I needed those things, then it would be quite a really, really expensive proposition.
Take a guess, how much will you spend on this car to completion?
I think so. I did a tally on one of my videos. I think it was going to be like 600 or something, like to the end of it. But I think if I can get things like at a good deal. Because what's funny is that when you make videos like this, people come out of the woodwork and they go, actually, I have this part and this part and this part. And the 918 used parts community is, there's not really one, but like if somebody is hoarding parts, they go, oh, well, I can charge whatever I want. But the problem is you're not going to sell it to anybody, because the person that buys a 918 Spider, and let's say it needs some work, they're going to Porsche to get it, because Porsche still has all the parts available, but they're just expensive. But if you buy a $3 million car, why wouldn't you take it to the dealer to, have all the resale value that you can get?
Do they just continually make the parts as they're requested?
So they are, when I go to order things from Porsche, they have like special order. So it's SO. So you put in an order and then they go, I don't know, go to Germany and wake up the guy that makes the carbon fiber, and they go, you have to make one more. So maybe they have a shelf full of 918 parts. I kind of doubt it. But I think a lot of these are just like made to order, but they have the tooling. And what's great about Porsche over like something like McLaren, because rebuilding the P1 is different. Porsche is like, I like to say it like this. Porsche is an actual company, and they have like actual stock, and they make parts, and they test their parts. So they don't just like make a car and then their customers are the beta testers. Porsche, when they put out a car, this thing has been all over the world. It's been tested in lots of different scenarios, and every single one of these parts has probably had some hundreds of thousands of iterations on their other cars. So they go, oh no, this is like the best thing that we can do, and this is good for this many actuations or whatever. So it's and also Porsche's engineering is fantastic. So I think with the 918 rebuild, it's different, at least for me, because I am also not going to be doing anything crazy with it. Like with a P1, we're literally redesigning the entire car. We're making like an entire car from scratch, engineering, aerodynamics, everything. Where the Porsche, that's going to be like an OEM rebuild.
Can the average person profit from rebuilding these cars?
That is a really good question, because it all depends on what your attention to detail ultimately is. If you want everything to be 100% and you want everything to be OEM and you're buying parts from the dealer, then probably not. The reason why I do this and rebuild these cars is because I enjoy the story. I enjoy adding to the car story. I like seeing that the cars are in bad shape, and then this presents unique problems for me to solve. That's the only reason why I do it, and also because I can put it on my YouTube channel, and that allows me to share it with other people and also make money from that. If I didn't have the YouTube channel and it was just me trying to flip cars, this would make no sense. And that's how you get a lot of people that are like almost like the buy here, pay here mentality, where you take these cars, you might get a Copart car, and you go, well, if I put a bumper on that, then it'll hide all the frame damage behind it, and then I'll kick it off to the next guy, and then by the fourth or fifth owner, and that they take the bumper off and they go, oh my God, like this is way worse than I thought. And that was sort of the deal with my Aventador, because it's been through like lots of people, and when I took it apart, realized that it had frame damage that somebody had like fixed, and they just botched it. So I can't let things like that go, and it's to the point where you can't just fix it, you have to replace it. So like most people, I think, would have a hard time doing rebuilds and then profiting off of it. And I think there have been a lot of videos on YouTube talking about like, oh, here's the reality of doing one of these, and like me and like Matt Armstrong or Rich Rebuilds or whoever's doing these rebuilds, they are painting like an unrealistic picture. But I think I'm doing it just because I love learning about the cars. I love learning about the platform and then solving interesting problems.
How do you make sure you don't lose a ton of money on this, though?
Oh, I always lose a ton of money. Well, I mean, losing a ton of money, it all depends. It all depends, because because my idea of losing a ton of money is different from your idea of losing a ton of money. Like, what would you like? Let's define terms here.
Because here's the thing. I mean, you could get money back on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
and your brand. How do you make sure you don't buy a car that needs $1 million worth of repairs and you're never going to make that from your channel on the videos?
Well, the idea is, so I take into account the growth of the channel. I take into account, because like if you're growing a business, that comes with a cost, right? So if I buy a car and it's a crazy amount of money, or I take out a loan on it or something like that, that is the cost of doing business. That is the cost of growth. That is the cost of, me trying to expand into other avenues or other horizons. And then that forces me to monetize in different ways. So whether it's like taking the same content and putting out different platforms, or like merch, or working with other people, or getting different sponsors, like that forces me to do those things, and that helps the business just down the line anyway.
He's a possibility-based person.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So we were talking to Tony Robbins, and he had explained two different types of people: the necessity-based, and what was it? The possibility-based. The necessity-based, Graham, explain.
Yeah, this is new for me. So the necessity-based, you do something because you have to do it.
Right.
The possibility-based, you do it because of the possibility of what could happen.
Oh,
so
yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
I like to do the necessity-based. What needs to get done right now to get to the next step? Okay. Jack is like, what can we do right now for the possibility of something new?
I think I've always been that possibility. I mean, I don't think it's a dichotomy, right?
Yeah.
There has to be a percentage of one or the other, because you have to do things because there's certain amount of things you have to do because you just have to. You have necessities, everybody does. But for me, I always look at cars for what they could be, what the best possible storyline I could make with this car. And every time I make a video, I go, okay, what do I have in front of me? And what is something that would be the most entertaining, most captivating, most engaging thing I can put out that I could be proud of? So a lot of people also, my commenters and viewers, I am not the most consistent in terms of like upload and stuff like that. But I think because of that, I have to do something where when I do put out a video, it has to be good. It has to feel like an event. It's like, oh, this guy dropped a video. It's a 2-hour long video about, X, Y, and Z. I'm going to watch it, and it's going to take you on a journey, and hopefully that's the draw.
From a business perspective, though, wouldn't it make more sense to hire one extra person, pay them $100,000 a year, and then their sole job is to make one extra video, let's say every 2 or 3 months? And that'll easily pay for them. It will grow the channel. You'll get more subscribers, more views. You'll make more money. And that seems like very scalable in that regard.
It does. So I've done that. And I've done that before. The issue is YouTube is a thing where it ebbs and flows. And sometimes, and like when you're dealing with people, I wish it could be like, all right, I'm giving you a task, and then you have to like complete this task, whether it's shooting or editing or working in the shop or whatever. In this field specifically, like I have ADHD, obviously, because you see all the cars, the kind of eclectic collection, and the million unfinished projects that I have. They're just all in pending states that need something. I tend to attract that sort of person, and it's very hard for me to get a person that doesn't have those qualities, because otherwise they wouldn't be attracted to this kind of job.
Would you rather quit YouTube forever or never own a supercar or hypercar ever again?
So I would still do YouTube, or I would...
You would still do YouTube, but you could never own a hypercar or a supercar ever again, or stop doing YouTube, and you could own supercars and hypercars.
So I will ask a qualifier. I know that this is like the hypothetical is you don't want to...
Like a sports car, or what's your question?
Will people know that I did these kind of cars before? If everyone's memory was erased and I can do a clean slate, but I could never touch one of these cars,
yeah,
I would probably do that. Because
you would continue doing YouTube.
Correct. Because I could still make stories. Because what I've learned is it doesn't matter what the cost of the car is. You could make a really good living. You can make a really good story out of cars or experiences or something that people can resonate with. So, I did a video on a $1,000 Nissan Maxima, which is like a spitting image of my first car. And that ended up getting 2 million views, but it took me 3 months to do. And I tried to, make the most engaging story out of it. but it didn't cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars to do. It was still like I was out $3,500 on the whole project. It was a lot of time, and it was interesting because I 2 months into it, I'm in the shop at like 3 a.m. working on this Maxima that I bought for next to nothing, and I'm looking over and I see like the P1 taken apart. I see an Aventador taken apart, and I say, at the end of those projects, like I have a P1 and I have an Aventador, really cool cars. At the end of this, I have a car that's worth $2,500. So like, what am I doing? But it's the sentimental value. And I think that translates just as much as these do. But you have to spend time on educating the viewer as to why it's cool. Like I might have to tell people why the 1998 Nissan Maxima was a big deal for me when I was 18. I don't have to tell people why a Ferrari or a Lamborghini is a big deal. They already know.